Welcome back to Nerdrotic Live. My name is Gary Beekler, and I come to you from nerdrotic.com, and we are here to cover the Doom Patrol Season 1. Maybe it's only season, unfortunately. Episode 11. I can't believe we've gotten this far. Francis Patrol. And I, of course, I can talk, am live in San Francisco, California, and this is the alternative channel where I can do fun stuff like cover the Doom Patrol and not have to worry about the algorithm at all in any way, shape whatsoever. So it's that's why it's a blue Nerdrotic symbol. It's kind of blue, easy, relaxed. We're chilling. So with this show, it's really hit and miss with me. I like most of it. This is usually the kind of show I love. I definitely dig weird. I loved Grant Morrison's run of Doom Patrol. It is actually right under this desk in a couple of those really nice plastic short boxes that they have. I have the full run, currently rereading it, and it is fantastic. And I think they've done mostly a brilliant job. Now, the one thing that they've done way too much, it's been way too long, and I'm glad we finally got some resolution with this Larry stuff, because the Larry Trainer stuff was getting to be a bit much. We get it. He's had no life for 60 years and he needs some closure. And not to bury the lead, we got that this episode. And there's a lot of stuff that's just like I end up fast forwarding through a little bit, but I did like the end of that, and I did like his old boyfriend telling him, bringing up that he hadn't gotten laid since JFK, and maybe that's what he needs. Just saying. Everybody needs to get laid. Okay, everybody needs to get laid. So yeah, it was a bit much for me. But the other stories really work for me. What I didn't think I would like, and I'm starting to like Cyborg a little bit. His costume is a little cheap, but this Cyborg comes off so much better than the one in Justice League. I'm forgetting the kid's name who plays him, but he does a much better job. And of course, I love Rita. I do. I love Rita and Cliff, and them together is brilliant. So this is kind of a weird, meandering show. We've had 3 episodes that took place basically, for the most part, at the same time. So while Cliff and Jane were in her head trying to get her out, we had another adventure with the Beard Hunter last week that Rita and Cyborg had to deal with. And then we had Jane calling a team meeting that Cyborg didn't show up at because he senses that Grid is taking over his whole body, basically. For what reason? Well, the reason I think is Mr. Nobody. I think Mr. Nobody he's the narrator, and we haven't heard him in a while, is controlling absolutely everything. That's my thoughts on it. And then, of course, we have Larry's relationship with his little energy being, the negative spirit. But we also had Cliff being teleported to Florida because his buddy, well, not his friend, the guy who slept with his wife, Bump, died because he was eaten by an alligator. And he was the guy watching Cliff's daughter and had taken care of Cliff's daughter. So Jane, I'm forgetting the name of the entity that can teleports Cliff and Rita to Florida so he can finally talk to his daughter. And we've almost gotten through a lot of stuff here. And like I've said, it's been meandering, and sometimes it feels completely stuck, but at other times it's very entertaining. And you could tell they're on the road to becoming the Doom Patrol. And by the end of this season, just like Titans, we should probably have our quote unquote team, although they're never really officially a team. And, I just hope we get a second season of the show, because I mostly like it, especially since we've gotten past, the Larry Trainer being mopey. I mean, he's kind of mopey in the comics, but I like the one that they had in Titans, the fun one who was cooking and everything and listening to AC/DC. I like that. Now, I know that was just, a pilot basically for this, but we'll see. Now, there is a theory out there about the Chief. And I think I'm trying to remember the theory now, that the Chief that we saw in the pilot, I know it's not going to be this way, by the way, but the Chief that we saw in the pilot is like the son of Timothy Dalton's Chief. I know somebody threw that out there, but it was pretty cool. The Beard Hunter was definitely creepy and funny, and he is no more, obviously, from the events of last episode. So the Larry stuff was a little long and meandering, but it had a pretty decent payoff at the end, and it was nice, and it looks like we could move past that, thankfully. We still have Jane's stuff to deal with. We have they went out to go meet somebody, and they got, well, one of them, Cyborg, got caught by the Bureau of Normalcy, and he is now at the ant farm. Cliff spends the whole episode not talking to his daughter, but there's a nice little speech, and as imperfect as Bump was, we almost got a good dad this episode, where she, tips a drink to him, and he lived as he died, carpe diem, getting eaten by an alligator, but she lost this watch that she wanted. So Cliff thought that the best way to his daughter's heart was to get that watch back, and for the whole time he's kind of monologuing, and he keeps on saying all the things he should have said to his daughter, and Rita is like, yes, that's what you say to her. He has a little freak out in the swamp. I got a little Swamp Thing vibes in this, but I knew it wouldn't happen. He ends up sending Rita away. He finds the alligator, fights the alligator, and gets the watch back for his daughter. And that was a pretty cool scene. I like that. I thought it was well done. We still have 3 episodes left. We have been looking for the chief the entire season. Timothy Dalton is not a permanent member of the cast. He is a guest star. So I'm wondering how much he will be in the future, if they have him in the future at all. I'm not really sure. But overall, a pretty good episode. They even kind of joked about, so our biggest, Jane says, our biggest clue came from a queer, a queer town, teleporting town. I thought that was pretty funny. And they're looking for a missing character from a comic book. And this show is wonderfully weird in that way. And I like that part of it. It just tends to meander a little bit too long sometimes. So it's kind of hit and miss. And is Alan Tudyk cursed? He might be. Everything he's in gets canceled, maybe. I don't know. But DC Universe is really, they've tried to run a bunch of spin to the point where they sent out an email to me and supposedly all the subscribers of the DC Universe. And I'm telling you, the report is real. So the report came about DC Universe being reassessed by Warner Brothers from a little small town, well, not a small town, but from a local newspaper that's from the town where they're filming Swamp Thing. They, of course, cut Swamp Thing's season from 13 episodes to 10 episodes. They rushed an ending because it's being reassessed, because AT&T just bought Warner Brothers and they're starting their own WB streaming service. And right after Disney announced their intentions, I think everybody else in Hollywood completely freaked out and realized how far behind they were, because Disney has been working on their streaming service for years and putting in billions of dollars, which none of these companies have the money that Disney has, and they're all behind Netflix and Amazon. So the DC Universe thing was a good idea. I like it. I like the Swamp Thing trailer, looked amazing, and they dropped that right after the news hit. But it's real, folks. So I'm sorry to say, I am, because there's some things I really like about the DC streaming service. Titans is not one of them, unfortunately. And again, this show is hit and miss. Let's get to the chat here. But we will see where it goes. Brendan Fraser is very good in this, Lou. He's very, very good in this. Him and Rita are great. When Larry's not moping, it's a pretty cool character, but he's pretty mopey the entire season. Jane, I had trouble with in the comics. I have trouble with in the show, and that's why I heard she was going to be in it. I was like, no, they could have all done this in 5 episode tops and gone on to actual storytelling, action, and comic book stuff. And that's where budget comes in. Time traveler registered trademark, and that is why this whole thing is being assessed. When you do a superhero TV show or film, Logan is an anomaly, okay? A very drama-based, but there's still action in Logan, right? So having superheroes sitting around and talking about their feelings all the time is not the way to go. it simply isn't. It works on something like the CW. I'm surprised it's worked this long, but there's also a lack of DC characters out there, and that's like the only place people can go get them. I thought the promise of the DC universe is what we were going to get some superhero action. We did not get that in Titans at all. We got a couple of Robin scenes and whatever. Right now, we've got Cliff yelling all the time, and while it's very funny and entertaining, it's getting a little slow. Larry pining for his boyfriend from 60 years ago, who even said in this episode, dude, move on. It's like, really, move on. It's been 60 years. You have a superpower. Use it. Get laid. Whatever. Crazy Jane is Crazy Jane. She's always going to be like this. So I don't know like where you go with this character, honestly, because if she's healed, then she no longer works as a character. Not really sure. Rita is the most entertaining thing, but she doesn't do anything Elastigirl at all, ever. She's melted a few times, gotten control of it, and in the last couple episodes, I don't think she's even melted. Maybe she did. I'm not too sure. But they haven't really done anything fun with her. The fun stuff was Timothy Dalton stuff last episode, Alan Tudyk showing up, but it's far and few between. Those are the best things in the show. So they really need to get moving. And yes, that costs money. And if you're going to do a streaming service and you're going to get into the streaming wars, you better have a lot of money. And if you don't, then you're in trouble. Things are changing, unfortunately. And honestly, I'm not sure these streaming services are the answer. I'm really not. Listen, I talk to the people. I talk to you every day. And the thing I hear the most about streaming services is I'm not going to get 7 streaming services. That's ridiculous. Morning from Oz, Brad. How are you? Titans is not canceled yet. They are filming the 2nd season as we speak, and it should be coming out in a couple months, I believe. But I don't know if it'll be much less past. Nothing officially has been canceled, but they're reassessing the entire service. Now that means, well, those shows could still survive. They can certainly go onto the WB streaming service and they would need content. But by all accounts, Swamp Thing was going to be the best one. But if they cut that one short to keep Titans, I wouldn't understand that. I think the streaming services had too many producers wanting to simply recreate the glory days of network television, complete with sexual corruption and career destroying. Not going to happen. No, that's a great point. They really think they want to bring back that business plan. It's not going to work. They're not the big dogs in the game anymore. It's Netflix and Amazon has the most money. TWTG content. I am happy to pay for a streaming service, just not a woke streaming service. Well, I agree. I totally agree. CBS is a complete woke streaming service. And well, you would really think that companies like DC and Warner Brothers would want to try to appeal to everyone, especially when you're in this competition, especially when your very life depends on it as a business. You would think. A live action Brave and the Bold was the way to go, right? You can introduce a bunch of different superheroes. They introduced a bunch of different things in a Brave and the Bold, including the Teen Titans. So the DC podcast guys on the YouTube channel are weirdos and make me cringe when I watch. Who are the DC podcast guys? On their so they have their own podcast on the DC YouTube. I didn't know. I'll have to check it out. Zippo Fanatic 77. No Constantine or Swamp Thing. That's a shame. And honestly, if you wanted to go a little cheaper, Lou, that would have been the way to go. Horror is the way to go. You could use a lot of practical effects. You wouldn't need to use a ton of CG. And instead of, superheroes flying around and stuff, you get Constantine. You go Swamp Thing. It would be great. You could bring in some of the Endless. It would be great. Rita is pretty hot for 80. Zippo, you're right. I got to give it that. How is CBS woke? They have 3 NCI series, a crappy MacGyver remake, and a joke reboot of Magnum PI. I'm talking about the streaming service, Chris. I'm talking about The Good Fight, which this season is about racism. We have Star Trek Discovery, which is a matriarchy. And then we have Twilight Zone, which is about racism. Completely woke. DC Daily is their podcast. The TV show DC Legends effed up Constantine completely. I gave it a shot and I was just like, oh my God. Yeah. The first episode he was in, they were talking about who he's sleeping with. Oh my God. I'm sorry. I was just looking up and it's like a bunch of my action figures are about to fall down. I wonder if we had an earthquake and I didn't know about it. Huh. Strange. Maybe it was a ghost. They still need good writing though, Stray Dog. Yeah. That's kind of the problem. Maybe there's just, the talent pool is just watered down. That's my thoughts. 10 minutes into Legend turned me off. Yes. I mean, the writing on this show is good. They have a good producer. They have the people behind Supernatural. So there's potential with Doom Patrol. Doom Patrol is definitely the best live action thing on, not that there's many, but it's way better than Titans and it's more entertaining. And, I'm only cringing sometimes. CBS streaming is very, very woke. Oh my God. I'm working on my, my season 2 Star Trek Discovery review, and I'm going to go full Mauler on it. It's going to be probably like an hour long. It's probably going to be out in like a month. I've got 2 minutes recorded. That took me like the better part of a day. So sarcasm is hard in texting. It really is, Larry. I hope Titans can clean up their act in the second season. Zippo, I do too. I like the kid who played Robin. I thought he was good. There's some good in it. The kid who plays Gar is good, but yeah, Superboy, that'll be interesting. Superboy, the girl who played Wonder Girl was great. Maybe some new writers. Getting rid of Akiva Goldsman would be your right move. If they did that, and honestly, the stuff he wasn't involved in was better. But as soon as he got involved in something, it was terrible. Okay, I'm going to cut this one short, folks. Sorry. I've had internet issues all damn day, but supposedly it's cleared up. So if we want to continue the conversation, we could definitely talk about it over on the other channel, Friday Night Tights. I do appreciate you guys being here and supporting Nerdrotic Live because I can do a lot more fun stuff over here. Starfire's got to go, Mongoose McQueen. That is not Starfire at all, period. End of story. It's the effects are terrible. She looks awful. It's terrible. So yeah, I don't think it's long for this world, to be honest with you. I think that report wasn't supposed to get out about Swamp Thing getting canceled the way it did. And what happened was this local newspaper probably had an inside source who worked there locally. And that person told that local newspaper probably some stuff they weren't supposed to say out loud. And then it got out. And I want you to notice that it took a while for the big newspapers to report on it. All right. And then they tried to shoot back with, Parrot Analytics. And but they didn't show any actual numbers. So if something is healthy, Netflix has been known to show its numbers once in a while. And they're pretty, especially when it's something that gets, when does really well. So how expensive is body paint, right? Take a man blade. I know. Cosplayers, I mean, God, Twitch makes a living off of body paint, doesn't it? Right? All right, everybody. Again, thanks for supporting over here, and we'll be doing more stuff over here. Twilight Zone will be here Monday night. I'll be ripping the crap out of that show. And Exozone lives here, and we'll be doing some other fun stuff. I'm going to be doing some regular live streams here, especially now that it got monetized finally. That was pretty cool. So yeah, hopefully it'll make up for that 2 weeks of income I lost. But guys, you're awesome. I'll see you over on Friday Night Tights. We got Comics Division, we got Josiah Rises, and we got Odin's movie blog on tonight. We're going to be talking about Avengers Endgame, and yes, there will be spoilers. And we're mainly going to be talking about like the direction of the MCU and also some of the plot holes and inconsistencies in Endgame. I mean, like, I can still like the movie, but recognize I don't like the direction it's going. I don't like the path it's set. And it did a couple, well, that all girl scene in there was just cringe as hell. So everybody take care. Oh, Lou, you didn't have, no, I was not asking for money. Sorry. Cheers, cause I love your streams. It's the only way I watch STD now, and I can't even watch Doctor Who. Duh. And I have been so lacking on doing Doctor Who videos. That's changing next week. I've got 3 lined up I want to do. But today was just all filled with live streaming. God, there was 2 videos I wanted to make today. I just didn't have time. The direction of the MCU is down. Oh, that's going to be the hot subject in about 30 minutes on Friday Night Tights. So join us over there, everybody. If for some reason you found this channel and don't know about my other channel, it's Nerdrotic. And Big Finish is the savior of Hugh Tecumon dude, I have been on such a Who kick. Lately. It's just been on my brain. And it's just because we had that season, and I feel the hole in my life that crappy season left. So I've been watching, I'm starting over, and I'm thinking about starting over and doing quick little reviews or commentaries on Patreon. But yeah, Odin and Josiah are really good dudes. So yeah, it's going to be a fun conversation over there. And I'm going to send out invites to a couple other people. We'll see if they show up. All right. Thank you for the $5 super chat. I will. And by the way, that's the very first super chat here on Nerdrotic Live. So it goes to you, Lou. Thank you very much. And I will see you guys in about 30 minutes on Friday Night Tights. We do not kneel. Ciao.